Happy Championship Sunday, Sam. And Conference Championship Sunday is usually about Tom Brady. And once again, while it's about the 4 teams today, it also once again is about Tom Brady, who is planning to retire. He's still processing that decision, hasn't informed the Buccaneers yet. His family says he's still going through it. It's fake news. But the fact of the matter is he is planning to retire after 22 seasons, 10 Super Bowl appearances, 7 rings, to move on to the next phase of his life. The decision based on several factors, most notably, as he pointed out on his Let's Go podcast with Jim Gray, family and health. And yesterday, his agent, Don Yee, issued a statement that said, I understand the advanced speculation about Tom's future. Without getting into the accuracy or inaccuracy of what's being reported, Tom will be the only person to express his plans with complete accuracy. He knows the reality of the football business and planning calendar as well as anybody, so that should be soon. We could look for an announcement, but again, Tom Brady planning to retire. He'll say it when he wants to do it.
Right, and as you know, the Buccaneers say that Tom Brady hasn't notified them, but they have been planning for the next year without Tom Brady anyway, because they knew this was always a possibility. And Jason Light, the general manager, has a tall task there because they got a lot of roster issues to address. But who would become the next quarterback after Tom Brady? Blaine Gabbert is a favorite of Bruce Arians. He won't be the starter. Kyle Trask was a second-round pick. Doesn't look like he would be the starter. Yes, Deshaun Watson is always available, but that's a lot of draft capital for a team that needs some roster makeover. I'm going to throw this one out at you, even though I'm just having fun here. You know, Jameis Winston threw for 5,000 yards and 33 touchdowns a couple years ago before Brady came on board. I'm not going to mention anything about.
Well, you like to have fun.
I'm not going to mention anything about the 30 interceptions, and Jameis is a free agent. Sam?
Yes, he got a little training in New Orleans. I like where you're going with this more. Teddy, you know Tom Brady so well. I've known him for a very long time. What's your reaction to this news?
I agree. I believe it's time, and I think Tom's going to make that decision. He's going to say it when he wants to on his own time, but it's coming. And I believe that it is time for him to retire, and we've seen him play his last game because 2 years ago, he has a great team year. They win the Super Bowl. This year, he has a great individual year, a statistic year. What else does he have to prove? I think that's what he has to decide. What we're losing here in terms of a league is I think you're losing the best leader this league has ever seen. And I think he proved that when going from New England all the way to Tampa Bay and forming them into a championship team. His leadership style is all about relationships, and I think that's what's so unique about him, giving his teammates a genuine reason to believe in him. And that's what he does that because he makes them feel like they're important. And that's something that really gets overlooked. There are a lot of quarterbacks that can throw a football, okay? But there aren't a lot of quarterbacks that can capture teams and say, get on my back because I'm doing the right things, and you mean a lot to me too, so let's go do this together. That's one of the special things I always thought was about Tom, and to see him leave like this, it's just I don't want to say a sad day, but it's just a culmination of a fantastic career.
You know, we talked about it last week, and I think I just talked about roughly about some of the text messages we shared and just the content of it. But I just talked about, you know, just him just seeing his kids getting older, just seeing him just being around family more. And I take it to last week's performance. You know, it was unfortunate, you know, the way that Tom went out because you've heard over the last couple of years of Tom talking about, hey, 45's the number, 45's the number. So that's basically Tom is writing each chapter to his own book. But guess what? What happened last week wasn't a chapter in his book. So like you said, Bruce, unfortunate that he lost the way he lost, but is it time for Tom to go ahead and hang him up? I think it's really time. He's done enough. I think the league in the future at the quarterback position is in great hands. We're talking about Mahomes. We're talking about Burrow. We get ready to see the future of the National Football League at the quarterback position here in a couple of hours. But you're talking about the greatest quarterback of all time. But my quarterback, hey, man, it's unfortunate, but yes, it is time to go.
Yeah, and Randy, you talk about how the league is in great hands with all these superstar quarterbacks. And at times I've mentioned how I think Joe Burrow reminds me so much of Tom Brady, but it's the traits that I see, the face, the you know, that courage and that composure that he has in big moments. That's what reminds me of Tom Brady, all right? However, they will never be another Tom Brady. When you look at this man, all of his accomplishments, 7 Super Bowl championships, you know, it's just crazy. 3-time MVP, and by the way, might win another one. I think this man goes out on top, and that's what is great. And why? Wasn't his fault that they lost that game. All right, he came back. He took a team back from 24 points down, and that's why, because he's Tom Brady.
I mean, I would say, Rex, the success that you mentioned, the 7 Super Bowl championships, I mean, he's set the standard for these younger quarterbacks where they believe one championship isn't enough.
Yep.
I mean, I got to keep winning because that's the standard. I mean, it isn't just one. It's like Mahomes thinking about now getting his second, but these quarterbacks, they now say multiple. The word multiple, and Tom set that standard.
And he could keep going. Like, Rex, that's what you're saying. Like, he's the passing leader this year, could be the MVP this year. You know, Tom and I became starters in the NFL at the same time. And so it's incredible, even more incredible to me to see that how he's done it at such a high level and just keeps pushing barriers and, you know, setting the bar, setting the standard so much higher. But it's not football that ultimately will be why he leaves the game, right? It's because he wants to take that same sort of excellence and hardworking and leadership, like you're talking about, to being a dad and a husband. And like that's kind of what I experienced a little bit at the end of my career. I was 40 years old and I've got teenagers, and a lot of people, my teammates, are asking me football questions about teams and X's and O's. And it's like, it's not even about that. And so I think whenever I hear these discussions about like, what's Tom Brady thinking, roster, what's the salary cap? Man, he's a dad, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And you heard him on his podcast with Jim Gray. Adam Schefter alluded to it. Like, these are the things that he's valuing over hoisting another Lombardi, having another ring on his finger.
That changed.
These are things, I don't care if you're a quarterback in the NFL or what your profession is, you don't get these years back. You don't get these opportunities as a parent back. And I think that's what we're seeing him say, what we're probably seeing him do. And quite honestly, I just think it's another example of him leading, just being a leader.
Because he's not a halfway guy, right?
Yeah.
You guys know this better than anyone. I just don't see him like kind of playing, like doing a little bit and kind of coming into the office late and leaving a little bit early. He's such an obsessive, all-in guy that it had to be like
It's 7 days a week.
Yes.
You're right.